Hello, hello, hello. This is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it is time to return to Victorian England and continue our adventures with Sherlock Holmes. And this particular title is Sherlock Holmes versus Arsene Lupin, known to some of us in America as Sherlock Holmes' Nemesis. And this game is actually the first one I played in the Sherlock Holmes game series. And it had been a gift to me from my late wife back when I had gotten the computer I have previous to the one I'm using now. And basically the story of this one is Sherlock Holmes is going against Arsene Lupin. And this is a crossover that was actually proposed many years ago when the writer of Arsene Lupin wanted to do a crossover with Sherlock Holmes. He admired the character so much, but Arthur Conan Doyle did not want that to happen. And so, let us dive in to Sherlock Holmes versus Arsene Lupin for a matching of wits. Okay. Now, basically, it explains here, you are undertaking to portray Sherlock Holmes, the famous consulting detective of 221B Baker Street, London. During this case, you must demonstrate both sagacity and calm. Observe well the items around you and don't hesitate to click on them once you have the required information. You will obtain comments that will help in your hunt. Do not forget to interrogate anybody who may be able to inform you, choose the right questions, and pay heed to their answers. Assure yourself that you aren't caught short by your adversary. Arsene Lupin will throw a number of challenges at you which will demand you are subtle and methodical. Thus, in the course of your investigations, you will have need to pencil and paper. Certain riddles will require reflection worthy of your hero. It will be challenging. At certain moments, you will need to type a keyword in response to a question in order to continue the adventure. You are at liberty to consult your notes in order to help yourself. Do not forget to read the documents that you will have gathered and glance through Sherlock's notes. They are important. In order to advance your inquest, you will have at your disposition plans and maps which will permit you to teleport by clicking on given points. You may equally make your character run by double-clicking with the left mouse. England's honor is at stake. Do not disappoint your adversary. I actually love this from the earlier games. Frogware presents and here you see, of course, some of the early models of all the characters. New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes versus Arsene Lupin. I didn't see the horse, did you? And there we have the figure that becomes Mr. Harriman. The model are okay. London, July 14th, 1895. Holmes is playing his violin.
It looks to be the beginning of a lovely day, Holmes. There's nothing like beginning the week with a sunny Monday, with nothing more pressing to do than to see what came in the post. Would you care to take a ride up the Thames today?
I think not, Watson.
Listen, Holmes, your mood has been getting progressively worse for the past 2 weeks. I know you, and I am certain that something is bothering you. It wouldn't be bad news from Switzerland, would it?
We would already be on a boat heading towards the continent, were that the case, my dear Watson.
Very well, then, what is it? Let
Referencing
me
the
guess.
Awakened.
For the past
And
2 weeks, the papers have
certain
talked of
individual.
nothing other than this French thief, Arsene Lupin. He's been making all of the police officers on the continent look like complete idiots. You're taking an obvious pleasure out of reading these articles.
My dear Watson.
I've put my finger on it, haven't I? I know you well. Something tells me that you will not entertain talk of this Lupin for some time. Do you recall his latest feat? Using an alias, he seduced a young Italian princess in order to rob her of a priceless set of diamond jewellery that once belonged to the Medici. These jewels were to be part of the lady's dowry on the occasion of her marriage to the son of a wealthy, influential Sicilian. Finally, our friend, having committed his crime, left word for the local press explaining that there was no other way for the charming lass to escape a marriage of convenience with, I quote, an uncultivated and uncouth boor without the least refinement. Since then, the lady has been confined to a convent, and rumour has it that the two outraged fathers have jointly offered a sum of countless millions of liras for the head, the rest of the body being optional, of the man who is responsible for their dishonour. Are you acquainted with the reputation of the Italian criminal milieu? Why, another letter from the zoo about those missing birds, as if we were going to be running around the whole of London chasing chickens. As I was saying, are you acquainted with the reputation of the Italian criminal milieu? This Arsene Lupin must be in hiding somewhere, surrounded by bottles of champagne and stolen treasures. How foolhardy and arrogant. Oh, these French. However, he didn't pursue this foolishness to the point of risking stepping onto British soil.
Has the cat got your tongue, Watson? What?
Yes, and now we
Whatever
are in...
is the matter with you, Watson? Pray tell.
This letter on the table. Holmes, read it.
Yes, we are now controlling Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. But I'm switching to the first-person perspective.
This letter, here, on the table, Holmes. It's incredible. Read it.
Of course I will. I will. In a moment. I want to look at something. Oh no, Sherlock's not going to react to this. Just to see if will he react to that. No. Watson will. Okay. I played this a little... I recorded this earlier, but the audio didn't get through. I don't know why. Alright. Dear Mr. Holmes, before I begin, please excuse any grammatical or spelling errors that you might notice. Your language isn't my native tongue, as I come from the continent. French, to be exact. In addition, my singular subjects of conversation, whether they be oral or written, are the most exquisite food and wine, the noble arts, and the sublimest women. Yep. The whole world knows that you, people of Her Most Gracious Majesty, do not produce or even discern any manifestations of aesthetic intelligence and civilization that sets men apart from beasts. Thus, the opportunities to practice your language are sporadic and brief. What use is there to linger with a lackey or maid? But look, I see I have made a mistake, or rather, an execrable mistranslation. That's a tough word. I don't know it. I never really used it. I said, you people of Her Most Gracious blah blah blah. I should have said the people of blah 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 other than you. How can I include you in this half-ruddy-faced, half-pallid crowd reeking of brine and cheap beer? You stand apart, an icon. Having followed your exploits for some time and being interested in your unusual personality, I started to see in you a man of intelligence, ingenuity, and singular refinement. The incredible results in your activities and the manner in which you achieve them are marked with the seal of genius. Believe me, despite the lamentable opinion that I hold for the inhabitants of your island, I have for you an admiration without limit, which reached its apogee recently when I discovered you had a French ancestor. What unlucky stars brought you to the world elsewhere than in the motherland I call my own, that you should have been your own? And if you're wondering, there was a story where the writer of Lupin wanted the crossover, as I said before, to happen with Sherlock Holmes, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's did not endorse it, so the writer of Arsene Lupin changed the name a little bit. So this could be an homage nod to that. Perhaps the gods desire that your presence on this island bring up the intellectual average that was so low it bordered on the absurd. The business that brings me to write this letter may bring an answer to this question. You see, events without antecedent will occur in London in the week to come, beginning on the very night of the day in which you read this letter. The purpose of these events is to bring to light a fraud, the arrogance and vanity of England. Enough of the haughty, boring composure that the English present us with. Passions should be freely expressed. Enough of the derisive confidence in England's impregnability which is displayed by all of your politicians and soldiers. The English fortress is being protected by seas serving as moats. Enough of your supposed symbols of majesty and grandeur of spirit, which are in fact merely the fruits of looting and plundering. And he has some point there. England has measured the world by its stingy, superior smile for far too long. Thus I, Arsene Lupin, have pledged to get rid of this smile. To that end, in the week to come, I pledge to steal 5 of the most representational symbols of the alleged English grandeur here in London. Once these auspicious achievements have been accomplished, I will exhibit the trophies for the world to see, and will reveal the smallness of a nation incapable of preserving its pride. England will become the laughingstock of all nations, from the largest to the smallest, and will have to swallow its pride and lower its head for millennia to come. I try to avoid from political commentary on my stuff, but that's hitting a little close to home in some ways. Imagine these self-righteous and perfidious faces who ordinarily parade the fact that they are one of Her Majesty's people will henceforth hide their origins. Being English will no longer be grounds for pride, but rather shame. In brief, the debts will be paid, and you are perhaps asking yourself why I have chosen to share with you my vision, which many who don't know me would consider mad. After all, if my former praises are well-founded, you are certainly the only person in England capable of stopping my plan. Like myself, you are fully aware of the inefficiency and the flagrant lack of imagination that plagues your police service. The reason for this letter is eminently narcissistic. No exceptional artist desires to produce their work for an uncultured public incapable of appreciating the true value of his prowess and talent. In you I have found the ideal spectator, and I wish for you to follow the stages of my consecration, step by step. In fact, I would almost wish for you to put yourself in my path, and in vain to stop me from committing these thefts. But you're a busy man who doesn't like defeat. What a shame! If, despite everything, the adventure tempts you anyway, I shall leave you a few verses that deal with tonight's target. All across France, everyone knows, in the blind kingdom, you only need one eye for the crown. You treat us like blind men. It shows. 'Twas a one-eyed, one-armed man who brought us down. It is true that we failed, though we tried again. Our fate was nailed. His immortality, our pain. One of the Spanish capes, the detestable pride that hangs around you like drapes. Our suffering makes you snide. An adversary came along in order to protect victory. We were put in the wrong, and the day made history. Save the pain and defeat, the worst in the game is that the hero we did meet carries a French name. Clearly did vengeance sound. What I have in mind for this traitor, sitting at his master's feet like a hound, is to be run aground. on my honor tonight to hand, I will break free the binding, so that all my understanding, our victory will take wing. Arsene Latino. Ah.
Holmes, this is truly unbelievable. Surely this cannot be taken seriously.
It's possible, Watson, that this letter is nothing but a prank. However, a small chance exists that both the challenge and the threat are real.
What will you do?
First, I'm going to enjoy the breakfast Mrs. Hudson has prepared. If you would be so good, Watson, as to clarify some of the riddles in the letter. Firstly, if Arsene Lupin is actually the author, as he states, why does he sign with another name? When it comes to the poem, even if an answer seems straightforward, we must be quite certain. What would the target of tonight's theft be if this letter turns out to be accurate? We have 1 day to find the solution and to take preventative measures. You could go see Barnes, the bookstore in Glentworth Street. Surely they'll have something that will be informative.
Yes. Alright, and now we are in control of Dr. Watson. Holmes is in his room right now. Umbrella. And this spear? Well, if I don't recall if it was in the original game, but...
It's the steel harpoon that pierced Black Peter, master of the sea unicorn. Terrible memories.
And as you know, we solved that case in Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments, which proves that this game took part.
It's a coal bucket in which Holmes stores his cigars. What a strange idea.
Not really. But as it says, basically, it sets things up.
This is how Holmes organises his correspondence that is awaiting responses. If only his clients saw that. My eccentric companion keeps his shag tobacco in the toe of this Persian slipper.
Yep. You know, looking around, you can see certain things.
It was in this statue that we found the famous Black Pearl of the Borgias.
I think that's an actual story.
Treaty on Cornish, the Celtic language of the Cornish people. And here, medieval pottery. Holmes has an interesting taste in reading.
Yep. Anything here? No. This is his desk.
Holmes's table for experiments. A motley collection.
The Dancing Men.
Oh, the Adventure of the Dancing Men. I recall.
You notice that it changes from the place changes in its appearance over the games.
What? This accursed statue is still here? I've asked Mrs. Hudson to remove it for us.
Reference to The Awakened. Alright, let's head out to Barnes. Never understand why these places have their, Oh, I gotta go this way. Because, Barnes is over on, the street over here. Hi, dog. It was a weird thing I found just recently. You can walk over to pigeons, see? If I were to change perspective, you'd see me standing on the pigeons, I bet. That's weird. Alright. And here is the bookseller. Yep. Where is he? Okay, he's back there. I can see the light back in that corner. Okay.
Poor Barnes should hire a cleaning lady. Oh, what a mess.
Yes, it's a mess. He's busy doing something, I'm certain. Nothing dangerous, of course.
Gnithruth, Kudwilm, Lizrit, Sublilha.
I take that back. That was the same thing Holmes was doing in learning the chant, and that in the during the adventure of the Awakened.
Good day, Barnes.
Hello, Dr. Watson. How are you? I didn't hear you enter.
Are you busy? Am I disturbing you?
Not at all. I was researching, but if you came to see me, it must be that you're looking for something specific. Perhaps I can help you?
Yes, we're in...
A very strange
Yes.
affair, bewildering even, has brought me to see you. An affair involving a Spanish cape and a one-eyed, one-armed man.
Most certainly. You will find the works dealing with naval history on one of the shelves somewhere.
I see.
Thank you. I'll go look.
Indeed. And he's gonna go back to his...
I'm quite occupied, Doctor. Excuse me.
Yeah, you're quite occupied with trying to find out things which man should not be meddling in. That's a no-no! Ah, here's a book. Okay, Great English Seaman book. Horatio Nelson. A-R-S-O-N-E. Ah, there's our name. It's an anagram of Horatio Nelson. See, born in Burnham Thorpe, Norfolk in 1758, we owe to Admiral Nelson some of the most beautiful pages of the Royal Navy's history, charged with intercepting Bonaparte en route for Egypt. He conquered the French fleet in the Battle of the Nile in 1798. Not content to rest on his laurels, in 1799 he recaptured Naples from the revolutionaries and was made Duke of Bront in 1800. The death of this unrivaled seaman, who had already given his body in the service of his country — he had one arm amputated and lost his sight in one eye — was his crowning moment. He died triumphing over Admiral Villeneuve during the Battle of Trafalgar. Despite being inferior in terms of numbers, but through the grace of courage and audacity without compare. A representative tale of Nelson occurred during a former battle when the flag captain warned him that the commander was signaling retreat. Admiral Nelson, convinced they were to be victorious, held a telescope to his blind eye and said, "I really do not see the signal." Thus, he continued to battle, coming out victorious. Lucky for him, his joke, you know.
Ah, here's my book, The Great English Sailors. As it happens, I found this book, and...
Excuse me, my dear Dr. Watson, but I am in need of tranquility.
Well, farewell, Barnes.
He's gonna need a lot of tranquility now. Now we'll just walk back to Baker Street. Hi, doggy. Hello, Mr. Harriman. Or someone who looks like Mr. Harriman. Ah, there's Holmes. Good, we're back.
Now tell me, Watson, what progress have you made? Have you found the meaning of the mysterious signature?
Yes, I have. He is Horatio Nelson. As Arsene Lupin is an anagram of Horatio Nelson.
It's an anagram, Holmes. The letters in Arsino Lotino can be used to spell out Horatio Nelson.
That's a welcome confirmation. No doubt the target for the theft is somehow connected with the Battle of Trafalgar, won by Admiral Lord Nelson at the expense of the French. Nelson, who lost an eye and an arm in battle, has a statue high atop a column in Trafalgar Square. It says that the object of the theft is sitting at his master's feet. There's nothing to steal on this column. We have a map of London here somewhere. Let's see if we can find a site of interest near Trafalgar Square.
Okay, so near Trafalgar Square. Alright. Ah!
Ha! I found it at last. The map of London.
Yes!
So, according to you, what is there to steal in Trafalgar Square? Show me on the map, Watson.
Okay, so, here we go. The map. Map of London. Okay, so we have these different areas. That's, I think, Whitechapel. South, west, center, east. In center. Ah, here's Trafalgar Square. And what's there? National Gallery of Painting is located on Trafalgar Square where the Nelson column is erected.
The only location visible is the National Gallery of Painting, which faces the column.
Why not? Our man wants to steal a painting, but which one? Watson, shall we head out? Let's take a tour of the National Gallery. While you find us a hansom, I'll send a message to Lestrade to have him join us.
Lestrade. Alright, so let's go get a hansom. And, well, what do you know? Here's one right now. And we're going to travel then to the museum, and I'm going to save the game once we get to the museum. Because the museum is going to be its own set of complications and fun. Don't you just love fun? Because it is the sign of our first crime. And it is where we will come face to face. Well, one face of Arsene Lupin. So let's talk to the man.
Ah, Lamb, good timing. Can you give myself and my friend Sherlock a lift?
With pleasure, Dr. Watson. The mistress, Miss Bromsby, gave me the day off. I'll wait for you.
Okay. And at this point, we're going to save the game because we are going to be dealing with a few things. And this is also where we get the, quote, spooky Watson, because of the mechanic of the game. But for now, we're going to save the game. And as always, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other playthroughs I've done. I've played through the 3 games that are chronologically set before this one at the time of recording. This is the 4th game released and 4th in the timeline. That's going to change next year because Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, which will be set before all of the adventures that are currently out, will be released. And I'm also working my way through Alien Isolation, although I'm getting closer to the end of that one. And I'm working my way through the several LucasArts games, currently working on the Monkey Island series. I'm working on Escape from Monkey Island. I'm working through games with Call of Cthulhu in the name, and currently working through Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth. I'm getting closer and closer to the end of that. I also do a bunch of runs for the game of Monstrum. And I'm playing through the Myst series, currently working on Myst 5, End of Ages, the last game in the series. And I am working my way through Sierra games, currently working on Shivers 2, taking a break between Gabriel Knight 2 and Gabriel Knight 3. And there's some others on the channel that you may find interesting. As always, take care, and have a good one, people, and let's save the game. Yeah, I'm overwriting one that existed because it didn't record the sound. Alright, and you have a good one all. Goodbye.